time to eat. She said to me, for early to Sunday school, filled with the Lord of glory.
Good morning, good morning.
Good
Oh,
morning,
what
Carol.
a beautiful morning, and I'm so happy to see you all. Let us take a deep breath. And another. And let us know together that there is one presence and there is one power, and it is God expressing in, through, and as each one of us in its fullness, in its beauty, in its joy. And it is that which has brought us here together this morning to celebrate that joy, that love, that beauty that is ours by right of being, that indwells us. And it is the essence of this Sunday morning service. It is the essence of all we do, every word we say, every note we sing. And we know for our speaker this morning, a special blessing as she prepares to encourage us to hold on to that which is good, that which is uplifting, that which is inspiring. And so we know that this event, this service, leaves us inspired, committed, to pursue that path that leads to our spiritual magnificence, that reveals our spiritual magnificence. And because I know this is so, I joyously and gratefully release this word as I declare, and so it is. So this morning, I welcome you all. I welcome in particular those persons who are listening on the World Wide Web. I am Carol Charlton, and I am a practitioner, and I share the platform this morning with our transitional minister, or assistant minister, Rev Ann. So now, let us join in the chant, which is found on the top of page 2. You are the face of God.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Truly, we are the face of love. So let me share with you this morning an inspirational reading. And it is this morning's reading from the February 2023 edition of the Science of Mind magazine. And it's titled, Can You Teach an Old Dog New Tricks? So there are two epigraphs, the first of which, written by Stephen Hawking, reads, "Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious." And then from the Science of Mind, page 337, the universe, both visible and invisible, is a spiritual system. All people are a part of this spiritual order, so indivisibly united with it that the entire cosmos is, or may be, reflected in their mind. And now it reads, how often have we heard, read, said, affirmed that we cannot teach an old dog new tricks? How often have we placed limitations on the expansiveness of spirit by declaring that we are open at the top, only up to a certain age, and that beyond that age, the top begins to close? How many books are there in the world? How many languages, museums, cafes, sights to be seen, works of art to be created, poems to be written? I think you get my point. There is a vast amount of life to be lived and enjoyed, and yet we cork the bottle each time we say our age is the reason we can't learn or do something. Does age play a factor in certain experiences that may affect what we can do? My mother, and that is the experience of the writer, experienced Alzheimer's disease, and I know this experience affects many. But I also ask, what if we are laying the foundation in the collective consciousness that further perpetuates and produces those results? What if we are able to move the needle closer to healing and curing such things when we no longer affirm and declare age as a limitation for learning, living, and letting the infinite spirit express in, through, and as us? Dog trainer, whisperer Cesar Millan repeatedly tells dog parents that they can teach an old dog new tricks when they do it effectively. And so we're left with the affirmation, which I'm going to read once and invite you to repeat. Today, I contemplate the vast resources life affords me. Today, I contemplate the vast resources life affords me. I marvel at all I can choose today, no matter what my age. I marvel at what I can choose today, no matter what my age. And so it is. So let us for a minute allow the persons who are just entering to settle as you prepare to listen to this morning's announcements. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Oh, At this point, we usually do, we are going to light the candle and the blessing of our children. So let me invite our children and Sunday school, their teachers, to come forward as I light the candle. Chevrolet, Kevin, would you be good enough to light the candle for the youth? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
The little ones and the big ones.
Right here. I light the candle.
Where is it?
No, I light this candle for the youth of the world.
I light this candle on behalf of the youth of the world. Let us behold the Christ in them.
And
So it is.
love you. Sorry. We love you.
We love you.
We
We appreciate you.
We
salute the Christ in you.
And
We see you as shining lights onto your world. God is blessing you now. And so it is.
Okay. So now, while they are still with us, let us sing the mission song.
The temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one with spirit on a mission. To touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us, anytime, night or day. The temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one with spirit on a mission. To touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us, anytime, night or day.
So you may return to your seats, love. And your teachers will guide you into what is next.
Affirmation of divine love.
And so we move to the affirmation of divine love, which is at the bottom of page 2. Divine love is doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love harmonizes. Divine love adjusts. Divine love prospers. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for this church now. Divine love is now victorious, and so it is. Following our program, please now join me for the praise song, God's Love is Deep Within Me.
God's love is deep within me, ever satisfying my soul. God's love is deep within me, soul. God's peace is deep within me, ever satisfying my soul. When I feel the peace that sets me free, ever satisfying my soul, I know that I am one with thee, ever satisfying my soul.
And let us remain standing to repeat the prayer of our center. The Temple,
Temple
of
of
Light,
Light,
Center for Spiritual Living, is a
sacred field embodying our spiritual community, from which the Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate.
to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God, and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and the glory forever. And so it is. Please be seated. Our announcements for this morning. So, first of all, do we have any first-time guests worshiping with us in person on this beautiful Sunday morning? Please stand if you are here, so that our usher can place a sticker over our heart, over your heart. And our sticker says, "We behold the Christ in you." We welcome you to our hearts. And if you are first time online, we welcome you equally. Our floral arrangements this morning were beautifully arranged by Mrs. Glynis Young and donated by our floral angels. Thanks, everybody. Now for the program or schedule for this week, I refer you to the flyer with significant events in your program for further details, but I'll highlight the following. There's Wisdom Circle this morning. Join us right after the morning service for Wisdom Circle session with Angelo. It will be based on the book, The Science of Successful Living, written by Raymond Charles Barker, New Thought luminary. And then on Tuesday at 6, Spiritual Mind Healing Service. Please join Reverend Michael Record on Tuesday at 6 again for a refreshing midweek pickup. The Zoom link will be sent out from our mailing list on Tuesday morning. And then on Thursday at 6, there's prayer power. Join us for an hour of prayer and meditation. And again, the Zoom link will be sent out from the mailing list on Thursday morning. Upcoming events now next Sunday, which will be Sunday the 12th, is going to be devoted to celebrating friendship. It's called Friendship Sunday. And so we're inviting you to come with your friends, and it's going to be a potluck event. So we are going to invite you to share some goodie from your kitchen or wherever you choose to acquire it. and let us truly come together and renew our connection and have a great time. There's something around food that allows us to share and be happy and, make fun and just share our love and our goodwill with each other. And then now, mark this one in your calendar. On March 2nd, the Temple of Light will be hosting the award-winning benefit presentation, No Hope for Hopi. And that's directed by our own T.K. Dawkins. Tickets are available in the office. We are a ministry of prayer, and we continue to respond to all your prayer requests. So there's a practitioner available to pray with you immediately following the Sunday service this morning. And this morning it will be Steve Golding who will be on duty. And the number to call is 876-289-0907. And if you want to speak to a minister anytime from Monday to Friday from 8 to midnight, you call that same number. Repeat, 876-289-0907. If you are moved to financially support our ministry, we invite you to visit our donate page, which is donate.templeoflightcsl.org, where you'll find our banking details. Thank you very much for your continued generosity and for helping us to be a beacon of light in the world. And may I remind those of us who are in the sanctuary that at the end of the service, you may place your offerings in the box at the front. Now, I'm going to invite Sandy Cooper to the podium this morning to tell you something special. Miss Sandy.
Good morning, everyone. Our temple is growing, and we want you to help us to grow along with it and help us to grow it. And one of the areas in which we believe that it will grow tremendously is through our music. We are evolving, and one of the, I call it acquisitions, because it's what you call it now, the French, those of you who speak French, a coup d'etat? Coup de grace? Something like that. Is the attraction, the bringing in of Mr. Dene Greaves, composer, arranger, musician. I met him when he used to sing with the university singers, and then he evolved into playing for them, and now he's an international support musician. This is a man who learned to play just by learning to play, going in front of the piano, and the music and himself were just one. We have rehearsals on a Thursday evening, and we are inviting persons to join. Here are the criteria. 1, a deep passion for music. 2, some musicality, because you can have a love for music, and it's a big deal, never, quite discordant, so a little musicality would help. We're not reading music in this situation. We are learning music. And so there are no music scores. So we have the passion, we have the musicality, and the third criteria, commitment. One of the challenges we've had over the years, we love to sing, but we don't come when we should come. We're not on time for rehearsals, or we don't come this week or next week, and then the week after that we have to start to learn all over again. So we're inviting those of you who have the love of music and the passion, the musicality, and the willingness to commit. It's a fun and exciting 2 hours spent on a Thursday evening. And Denny is all over the world in his work. But what we are doing is to create a repertoire. We can even do Christmas music in terms of learning throughout the year. And then when he's available, he will play with us. So please, if you can come, live, whether you live near or far, right? Whether you have said no before or not, we want your talent. And so, 7 o'clock on Thursdays. The passion, the musicality, the commitment, okay? And so we look forward to seeing them. We love male voices as well.
Morning, everyone. You might be wondering and saying to yourself, well, what has happened to Angela and the choir? And I think there needs to be a little explanation. I have stepped down, so it created a void. Okay, this was not a coup d'etat. I have stepped down. I will continue to be playing for church, but when it comes to directing a choir, I've had to give myself a break. And so there was a void. And so those who are interested really stepped in, and together we got Denny to agree. And it should be a great group, intended to be small. As Sandy says, it needs commitment. It needs commitment. So all of you who know you like to sing, and it's going to be quite a bit of contemporary music, I believe. And it should be fun. They've had 2 practices so far, and my understanding is it has been great. So I would really strongly encourage anyone who wants to try out for it. Okay? Mm-hmm.
So come and join your voices. Returning to the program, let us turn to page 3 for this morning's responsive reading. Communion with the Spirit is one of the greatest privileges of life. It is entering into the presence of Spirit silently, quietly, and alone, and listening and feeling until that presence is real to us.
In a prayer or communion is essential to the conscious well-being of the soul.
This inner communion is a constant recognition of our relationship to that presence in which we live and move and have our being. We cannot have faith without communion because it is the communion that gives us the faith. The power of prayer is generated when we consciously direct our thinking toward a specific and edifying purpose. The essence of prayer is faith and acceptance.
Faith and acceptance is the true motive power that attracts and magnifies the hidden potentialities of life.
Prayer is not an act of overcoming God's reluctance, but should be an active acceptance of his highest willingness.
In effective prayer, I realize that a power greater than I am consciously acts with creative intelligence upon my word.
Prayer should be understood not as a mere mechanical recitation of formula, but as a mystical elevation, an absorption of consciousness in the contemplation of a principle both permeating and transcending our world. If one will sit in quiet contemplation of good as an inner experience, he will experience the good which he contemplates. The truth shall set us free. And now, and so it is. And so now let us rise to sing the next hymn, O brother man, fold to thy heart, the words of which are in the probe.
On the plan.
On the
But they don't see me, you know.
O brother man, fold to thy heart thy brother, where kindness dwells, the peace of God is there.
Lilith, you can't help us? Can't sing? I don't know it either. Sandy, help us now. Is that tune that we know, right? Can you play it again?
Yes, please.
Please.
Fold to thy heart thy brother, where kindness dwells, the peace of God is there. To worship rightly is to love each other, each smile a hymn, each kindly deed a prayer. Okay.
Ready, we can do that now.
Follow where friend steps the great example of him whose holy world was doing good. So see more fathers stumble, each loving Lord, a sum of gratitude. Then shall old Jacques through the stormy chamber of wild music o'er the anxious seas. It never of God, redeeming ashes plant the tree of peace. We soon learn it.
Yeah.
And the words are so powerful.
Yeah, man.
Yes. So please be seated. As you realize, this morning's speaker is Rev Ann, and she's armed with a message of encouragement that will take you from today into the week, into the rest of your life, charged to live life powerfully. Reverend Ann.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, all of you, for being here. And before we join consciousness in this encouragement, if you notice to my left, there's a flower on a chair. Instead of putting it in the announcements, I wanted to say it to you first. Karen Gentles, our treasurer, who you all know who used to sit there, made our transition on Wednesday. It is a heartfelt moment for me, accustomed to her in the office, my cheering sister, because Sharon handed Karen to me, because that's when Karen came to this church, when Sharon made her transition. And Karen has been an active member of this church. She's on every committee. She do this, she do that. She's just one dynamite of energy and indeed support for all of us. She has many friends in here. I know they're still trying to grapple with it. But friends, let us remember always the eternality of life, and that life is forever unfolding in through as each one of us. Yes, or the physical presence is not here, but the warmth of Karen will always be with us. I can still remember on Wednesday last week when I was doing noon bites. Say, all right, Reverend Ann, I pray with you. That kind of person, she comes forward, she gives our support in any way, shape, or form. So the details of our Thanksgiving service we'll get to you in time. But this morning, just remember, smiling Karen in our usual tone of support and love, fellowship, and camaraderie. So together, let us know that that one perfect life of God is indeed the life of Karen moving on in the light of her family, friends, and associates. It's the light of this community as we join ranks and allow that consciousness of life and love now to fulfill itself, project itself in through us as just love, comfort, and support for each other. We know that Karen is on her perfect assignment with that which created her out of itself. And we know that her physical presence is not with us. But we stand in that promise that the eternality of God is always moving upon itself to create anew within each one of us. It's that eternality that joins us together now. It's that eternality of love that is indeed allowing us to dwell in his everlasting arms of fellowship, friendship, and I know community. We give thanks for the life of Karen. We give thanks for her commitment to the service of others. We give thanks for her always so selfless, and know for her as she makes this journey into the family of God that all is well. And I know for us as we continue to let Karen be so much a part of our conscious awareness, we know that she's always with us in spirit. We carry her in our hearts, and we give thanks. We give thanks for being part of her experience on this earth plane, and know that all she has taught us, all she is to us, will continue to foster this fellowship and community that we share. Oh, I truly give thanks that this love that is God is fulfilling itself in through us now. And I know the Lord now receives these words and manifests a pure and perfect experience. This is the truth. I know that it is so, and so it is. Welcome to those joining us online and those in the sanctuary this morning. It's a Karen morning. She just loves the sunshine and the flowers. So, hail Queen Karen. Anyway, I share a quote this morning from Dr. Elmer Lumsing, our founding minister, dated November 23rd, 2014, as she facilitated a lesson with her students concerning waiting on the Lord or being a beholder when one lives in close contact with the indwelling God. It is, she said, conscious union with the infinite storehouse through prayer, studying the correct letter of truth with open eyes and open ears, meditating upon the word, contemplating, abiding in the word, and let it abide in us, end of quote. This was while some of us were studying with her the concepts laid out in the book Heart of Mysticism by Joel Goldsmith, New Thought writer of the Infinite Way. That particular quote came through her while we were contemplating the significance and meaning of the phrase, be satisfied with nothing less than the experience of God. Be satisfied with nothing less than the experience of God, which is my theme this morning. That particular phrase is taken from the book Heart of Mysticism, page 352, for those who still have a copy. Another way of saying that is the actual awareness of the God's presence in your life and affairs. Practitioner Jennifer Williams Livingston, I think 2 Sundays ago in her talk, reminded us of practicing the presence and its significance to the navigation of our daily life unfoldment. I share now a story from a noted theologian, J. Sidlow Baxter. Some time ago, in a southern English town, the clergyman of an Anglican church happened to be looking through his vicarage window when he saw a rough-looking workman strode past the main door of the church, where he halted rather furtively and then entered. The next day, the clergyman noticed the same thing, and again a couple of days later, always about the same time, 12:30 noon. His suspicions became aroused, so he sent the verger, which is another name for caretaker or groundsman, that would have been Sean, to spy. This is what the caretaker saw. The man entered, stuffed his cap in his jacket pocket, and walked down the main aisle to the rail before the communion table. There, with bowed head, he stood in silence. Then, putting his hands on the communion rail and looking over towards the communion table, he said in a low voice, "Jesus, it's Jim. Jesus, it's Jim." Some days later, there was a nasty accident in town, and Jim was carried to the local hospital. He was put in a man's ward, which at the time was filled with the roughest mixture of men ever admitted. Such was their coarseness and crude ungratefulness that more than one of the nurses had shed tears. However, after Jim had been there a few days, there was a marked change, and after 2 or more days, it was such that the sister and nurses could not conceal their happy surprise. One morning, just as the sister entered to start her round of the beds, the men were all enjoying a good-natured laugh at something. She could not help asking the first man what it was which had made such a change in them all. He replied, "Oh, it's that chap in the 5th bed, Mom. They call him Jim." So when the screen was around Jim's bed, she said to him, "Jim, you have made a wonderful change in this ward. Tell me how you have done it." With a tear glistening in his eyes, Jim replied, "Well, sister, I'm not sure you'd understand if I told you. But somehow, every day, just about 12:30, I see Jesus coming toward the end of my bed. He stands there for a minute. Then he just puts his hand on the bed rail and leans over and says, 'Jim, it's Jesus.'" End of story. Now let us look at the significance of the story behind the story. Some of us may dismiss the use of the name of Jesus. Correct Aramaic translation is Yeshua. To the Christian religion, Jesus the Christ is the way sure. To us, his message and way of being we study. The metaphysics behind his message is part of the foundation of our teaching the science of mind and spirit. But one cannot dispute the sincere, simple man's prayer, consistently done in reverence every day, and its ensuing result of a way of being that changed the character of a male ward. January Science of Mind magazine, in an article by Carol Charlton entitled "The Root of Things," she states, "Today we find young atheists, those who are doubters, and those who identify as spiritual but not religious, seeking a deeper perception of reality. They don't see church as anything they want to include in their lives. They cannot hear our message if we cling to the trappings of traditional religion, end of quote. She further states why. They are opting for science. They are choosing nature over a made-up God. They are sweeping away superstition and dogma while they attend to their environment. They are educated and dedicated to the earth and the process to future generations. They are living the roots of science of mind, which proclaims, and I quote, "The power that makes all things new lives in each one of us. We are the ones we have been waiting for," end of quote. I'll read it again. "The power that makes all things new lives in each one of us. We are the ones we have been waiting for," end of quote. Where have we heard that before? Our second declaration is, we believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in everyone, and that all people are incarnations of the Spirit. Our young people seek the evidence of that Spirit in the environment, and they believe in causes, and as well that presence of Spirit within and in each individual, rather than a far-off old man in the sky observing our commissions or omissions of living a life separate from the true reality, which is love. Friends, whether we worship the messenger, which, if you really look at it, there is something deeper that all wish to connect with, rather than seemingly live the message. It is still a way of being which is sincere, and their faith is unquestionable. The church is a concrete structure which does not dispense affection, but it is the community within that is showing their observance of the teaching by appreciating and living in fellowship one with another. Friends, the reality is always God and nothing else. No matter what name we may use, it is to live in close contact with the indwelling God. All then become revealers of truth which touch lives like Jim. Or as Joel Goldsmith says, be satisfied with nothing less than the experience of God. Or as stated by our beloved Dr. Elmer Lumsden, conscious union with the infinite through prayer, studying the correct letter of truth, and let it abide in us. And another way of saying it is our responsive reading this morning. The inner communion is a constant recognition of our relationship to that presence in which we live, move, and have our being. Jesus, the way sure, in Luke 11, verse 2, he said unto them, his disciples, when ye pray, say, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, end of quote. Our Father, which art in the heaven of our heart, which is the presence of God. So when we practice our Father, then the paradigm shift moves to inclusivity, a community that appreciates and lives in fellowship. A reminder of our vision, which is the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living, a lighthouse of collective consciousness revealing love, joy, peace, and prosperity to all. One of our core values is love, and we have written and accepted that when we practice love, it looks like this: unconditional acceptance and support of others, allow people to express in their own way, be gentle in tone and mannerism, see myself and others as expressions of God, seeing others as an extension of myself, oneness. all taken from source document Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living Vision 2030 strategy. I implore you to read it. Nobody said it was easy. We are humans, but our authority comes from we are spiritual beings having a human experience. This evolution happens in layers of being interpreted through our experiences. So what is the message of this center? That will attract the young, the doubters, all who are seeking that communion with our inner spirit and with each other. Jesus the Way Shower reminds us in the story of the Good Samaritan, which he used as a teaching tool after the young lawyer had asked, "Who is my neighbor?" All in Luke 10, verse 27 to 37. I will summarize that for you. A certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho, fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance there came a certain priest that way, and he, when he saw him, he passed on the other side. Likewise a Levite came, looked on him, and he too passed on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, had compassion on him. He went to him, bound his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set him on his own beast, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. On the morrow, when he departed, took out 2 pence, gave it to the host, and said, "Take care of him, and whatever you spend, when I come again, I will repay thee." The question is, who was the neighbor to the man? Of course, literally, the Good Samaritan. Metaphysically, though, this is taken from the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary by Charles Fillmore. A man's neighbor is his nearest and most intimate embodied thought. Therefore, the body is our neighbor. Our body of thoughts projecting as our physical experience. The man who was stripped and beaten half dead symbolizes the physical body that is in a similar condition. The robbers are our lawless thoughts that rob our body of its energy and substance. The priest and the Levite represents the ignorance and indifference to truth found in formal religion and law. What does that mean? We are the embodiment of our thoughts. So if our dominant thought pattern is so separate from love, we will experience life in a manner that seemingly strips us of our truth, God in me as me, and dignity. We are beaten up and left without substance and energy through the vicissitudes of daily living. So whether or not we are in traditional religion, new thought, or any spiritual teaching, if there's an ignorance and indifference to the tenets of the teaching by not practicing and letting our light shine, then the doubters observing our insincerity to what we speak, then there will be no desire to be a part of it. Friends, it is the consistent, constant practice of principle that transforms lives and those who come into contact with us. The metaphysical meaning of the Good Samaritan is Christ in you, the hope of glory, as shared by Paul. The beast is the divine natural substance. The oil is love, and the wine is life. Therefore, the summary from the Bible dictionary is, the parable of the Good Samaritan teaches that the body is being robbed of its life by ignorant, lawless thoughts, and that life will be restored by the Christ if we exercise his merciful, healing love, end of quote. So when we practice principle through the correct letter of truth, contemplating and abiding in the word, prayer, and let it abide in us, we live in love, which is a healing, unifying force that transcends the challenges of daily living, radiating through us as a blessing, healing way of being that demonstrates through our service to others. a sincere, simple way of being satisfied with nothing less than the experience of God. But one may also wonder why the ignorance and indifference to truth principles. When one enters any teaching with a strong desire to know and learn something that is of value to our lives. This month's Science of Mind magazine, Reverend Raymond Anderson, who some of us have met before, a Centers of Spiritual Living minister who came to us, about 5 years ago, whose theme this month is all about curiosity. And I quote, he says, "Many of us were excited when we found this teaching and found like-minded people to be in community with. We were excited to take classes, to learn, to heal, to change our thinking and change our lives. Are we still as excited to learn, to practice, to be in community? Or has the honeymoon and the curiosity of the teaching worn off?" End of quote. My invitation now, then, is we are willing to rekindle the curiosity, to fall in love again with a teaching that works. We all have evidence and demonstrations that reveal the efficacy of this science of mind and spirit. We can fall in love again with that fellowship, appreciation, and support of community, and this movement towards a world of love that works for everyone, a global awakening of mankind to their spiritual magnificence. True. Are we willing to take up the baton as charged by Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching, to seek to make it practical in our everyday living? Be satisfied with nothing less than the experience of God. How? A consistent, constant daily schedule to study and learn the correct letter of truth. Prayer, contemplation, abiding with our chief spiritual officer, the CSO of our lives. That came from a class we're doing on gratitude. Spirit, whatever name, ensures that we have a satisfying and intimate communion with our indwelling Lord of our lives. We structure the lawless thoughts into a path of thoughts that enhance, align us to the reality of being God in me, as they project in our experience of life. Our core values guide us in that process. Integrity, our consistent and uncompromising adherence to strong moral and ethical principles. Accountable, responsible, and truthful. How? By walking the talk. Practice of science of mind principles. Depend on principle and be dependable. And in order to live in community, yes, there is vulnerability. The willingness to share, be open and receptive. Teach what inspires each one of us to others. Confidentiality. Yes, we connect at the heart level here. We remain humble, yes, not weakness, but the ability to accept everyone without judgment or criticism. No self-centeredness, but us-centeredness. Everyone is appreciated. There is then a willingness to listen. Everyone has a voice in here. Everyone has ideas. This requires commitment to stay open, using spiritual principle to guide conversations. Exploring common interests, friendships, and achievements are celebrated. And yes, we are sensitive. Then we can come to the place where responsiveness is revealed. And we can have reasonable expectation of our community, fostering a behavior pattern that enhances relationships, learning together, facilitating a demonstrable way of living and being. Love in action always. A truly enriching, radiating consciousness of love, peace, joy, and prosperity for all. Friends, we can't be satisfied with nothing less. So in summary, classes is a must. adhering to spiritual practices and principles, quality time in communion, friendship in God, always seeking to improve and raise conscious awareness of that indwelling presence. A daily living that blesses all who come into contact with us. Remember always who we are and whose we are, and live from that reality. And in the words of Reverend Carol Charlton, I end. You and I are greater than any experience we have ever had or will have. It is the root cause of overcoming any perceived obstacle. It is the reason we evolve, heal, forgive, and move on. Our roots run deep. End of quote. Her affirmation that she leaves with us: God is the rest of me, the best of me, the not yet unexpressed of me. I am available to reveal all that is mine to express. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Reverend Ann. Like, or unlike old dogs, we can indeed be taught new tricks. Practice, practice, practice. And as Reverend Elmo used to say, here ends the lesson, now begins the practice. It's up to us. Reverend Ann. Sorry. I'd like now to invite Diandra for this morning's musical item.
Diandra, before you sing, will all the February people stand up? I know some are here. Yes. Yes. Okay. Right. Diandra is going to sing a wonderful song for you. That's your birthday greeting from us. Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear loved ones. Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. Happy birthday to you. Oh yes, God is blessing each and every one born in this beautiful month of February, the month of love. So I know that that divine consciousness of love created each one of them out of itself and imbued them with its talents and abilities to experience and express love. That love that is indeed fulfilling itself, transforming every aspect of their beings. And I know that as they step into this new year, love attracts into their world of affairs all that is lovable, all that is loving, all that is prosperous, all that is enhancing for their physical bodies, their mental and emotional domains. Simply love. So I know for them as they continue to walk the talk of love, wherever they are as ambassadors of love, they reveal and indeed transform lives that come into contact with them as they radiate that shining love that is indeed God. Each one extraordinary as they allow their hands and feet to be used by that indwelling presence of love. So I know for them as they radiate and indeed allow this love to be their way of being, I know that wherever they find themselves, they are indeed visible representatives of that divine love that is God. This is the truth about each one. As I release my word to law and know that it is so, and so it is.
Good morning, Temple family. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let our children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. Never found anyone who fulfilled my needs. A lonely place to be, and so I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I lived as I believed. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself, it is the greatest love of all. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I lived as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself, it is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of leads you to a lonely place, find your strength in love.
Thanks, Diandra. Thank you so much. Thanks, Lauren, for playing the tracks. As we find our strength in love as a community, let us rest in that love, because that is what we all are, expressions of love. Thank you again, Diandra. Let us stand and say our prayer of Jamaica. It's found in a flyer. in the program. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established, and so it is. Our second hymn is Love Divine or Love Excelling. And so as to be able to be ready for Angelo, while we're singing the hymn, could you just put your love offering in the boxes at the same time?
Love divine, all love excelling, joy of heaven, earth abound.
Come forward.
Remain thy holy dwelling, all thy faithful mercies found. Divine is love's expression, your unbounded love we see. Shown is now thy great creation, perfectly revealed through thee. Praise to thee, O great Creator, praise be thine from every tongue. Oh, let every living creature join the universal song. Source of all being, free eternal life is thine. Hail the God of our salvation, praise Him, He is love divine. Above thee and honor, power and might to thee belong. Thine it is to make us prosper, thine to make us strong. Lord, to thee, O God of mercy, hymns of gratitude we raise. To thy name forever glorious, ever we confess our praise.
I'll say the blessing for us all. Lovingly I give, joyfully I receive.
Receive,
Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper, and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. So be it. Thank you, Father, and so it is. I know that each one of us give us of that eternal love and prosperity that is God. I know that we are abundantly blessed. I know that this love offering for the spread of truth continues to uplift, enlighten, and indeed allow the vision and mission of this church to awaken mankind to its spiritual magnificence to continue. We truly give thanks for all those who contribute their consciousness, their treasure, their time, their talent, all there is to the honor and glory of God. I truly give thanks that all this is so, and so it is.
So it is.
So in that frame, let's just close off with our affirmative prayer as we recognize that power and presence in our midst. There is nothing else but God. Indeed, each one of us in this sanctuary and online, we are truly satisfied with the experience of God in our lives and affairs. This experience that allows us to walk the talk, to allow our lives to be filled with constant blessings of love, peace, joy, prosperity, perfect health, and creative self-expression. I know that wherever we find ourselves as we continue to radiate this truth, indeed we are movers and shakers in the movement of consciousness towards a world that loves, a world that sees nothing except love. There is no judgment, there is no criticism, but just an awareness of fellowship, an awareness that each one of us is indeed a revealer of truth, whatever we may say, do, or think. So as we continue to let that presence fulfill its infinite possibilities in, through, as us, we are indeed a blessing to our world of affairs and a blessing to the entire cosmos. So we go forward to our separate assignments now and know that that spirit of love continues before us to ensure that our love is indeed a radiant light, a beacon of hope and comfort to all who come into contact with us. We thank you, God, for this conscious awareness as I release my word to law and know that it is so, and so it is. Our peace song is Love Song. Yes, there is love on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is love on earth, the love that was meant to be. With God as our power, family all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, love begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in love eternally. Yes, there is love on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Thank you all for coming out with us on this, to share your consciousness of love on this wonderful Sunday morning. Thank you for your support. And as we continue to hold Karen's family and our community in prayer and love, I know that the eternal cords of love bound us all together in this consciousness that is indeed moving upon itself as us, as a temple of light.
Friendship Sunday.
And remember Friendship Sunday. Bring your friend, bring your neighbor, bring the casual contacts, and let us have fellowship. Bring whatever.
And bring the food.
Yes, someone we can't cook, Sandra, but anyway. We will buy chips. So we are all coming with everything that we can find to share in that fellowship and connection next week. And remember to join Reverend Michael on Tuesday evening at 6, prayer power at 6 on Thursday evening, and classes on Thursday morning, evening, and next week, Reverend Michael's spiritual laws. So friends, what else I leave out?
Wisdom Circle right after service.
And yes, as I said, we want it to be ready for you. So Wisdom Circle is right after this. I think there's a few libations out at the side, so you can assist yourself. All right? Have a great week, friends.